Hello again, everybody. It's Michael here from the Trading Institutional Order Flow thread on Forex Factory. It's the 2nd of June 2018. I hope you're all well. It's been a little while since I've had the chance to do a video for YouTube. I've just had a lot going on in my personal life with my son going into rehab after hip surgery and with the Roundtable and all the other stuff going on. It's been a little bit crazy, but I'm so glad to be returning back to some normality. That's the life of trading. Life does happen outside of trading, and we all have to adapt. Um, Thank you all for your well wishes, and for those of you who've been asking me to post a video. Well, I'm back now, and hopefully we will have this more regularly. I'm aiming to post again at least a video a week now, so let's get started. So being the first of the month, May is now finished. We're at the beginning of June. I started posting some monthly charts on the thread yesterday evening, so I'm going to be looking at those again, and we'll go through some of the ones that we have as well. Okay, so here we go. Let's start with the big daddy, as always, the US dollar. So I posted this on the thread. So I'm looking at that zone for supply, and the fact that we have evidence of buying coming in with the ending of the downside momentum. I was looking at this area as a possibility. Whoops, that's the wrong one. So we're looking at this area. Now bear in mind this move up that we've had with the dollar showing strength in the last so many weeks has come from that rally, base rally there, and we're now much deeper into the supply. So if we're going to hold the supply, the sellers need to come in right now and start showing some strength and begin to remove zones on smaller time frames. So we're looking at some buyers coming in down in here, and we still have the old sellers here. So this market is likely to be between these two zones for a little bit longer. And obviously the opposite on the euro now. The euro, we've broken through the demand. We now have supply above in the euro. But we are sitting still around that area. We haven't managed to close below it. If for those of you who use that as a filter as well, we're looking at that level and ultimately that one as well. So for fresh levels in terms of the monthly, we're looking at that demand and that supply. So those are the big picture levels we're looking at in the euro. Looking at the Aussie, we go here where we are sitting right now, and we've hit that now. We still have all this overhead supply still in range. So the Aussie is very tight. If we are going to get some movement into it, we're probably going to have to see more of a rally. We have a high there. That high there is 81.25, and that 81.36. So we have a new leg down. The question is, if we do get a rally, how far does it go? Is this a fake out below this, getting people wanting to sell into the market and then taking them out? Overall, the market is still in a range. So the Aussie, and that reflects in a lot of the Aussie pairs as well. They're pretty range bound right now. And looking at the pound on the monthly, the pound has taken a bit of a beating. We are down into these areas on the monthly. People have been using that area as a supply. We have the supply up in their pre-Brexit levels. So we're down into this area now. The question is, how much momentum do we still have to the upside if we're looking at it? So if we draw that line, we find that if we close this month of June outside of the line, we may find that the sellers will try to sell if and when prices rally up into this area. So keep that in mind as you're looking at the pound pairs going forward. And the New Zealand, you can see, is a very range bound market. The New Zealand US dollar, we have that, and we still have this old demand still holding prices, even though it's been tested multiple times, going deeper in each time. We've now come back a fourth time into that level, and we suddenly start seeing these supply zones holding and taking prices to new lows. So if we are going to get this as the next leg down, um, we'll look at the fresh demand below us, and that's the fresh supply above us there. Okay, so that's a very range bound market. Looking at the US dollar Canadian, also been range bound. These levels that we have marked, I think we've shown this in previous videos, these levels for a long time, and we're still in between them. We've tested the demand a couple of times, 3 times, and we still have room to go to the upside. So that's the monthly view of the US dollar Canadian. US dollar Swiss, you can see the range without me even needing to point it out. We have the bottom of the range, tested a couple of times. We now have that area up in there. In fact, you can draw it like that. Let's just check that high as 10038 and that high is 10056. So we're actually going now to this previously tested area above it. Not fresh anymore though, but it's what's topping out the markets. The next levels are up here, so watch this range. So if and when we get a breakout out of that range, then we may have a big move to either side, whether we break down or we break up. Did I just say break up? Okay. For the US dollar Japanese, it's not the cleanest of demand zones we have down here. This is really the area that's still of interest to me. I'm not liking the structure at all of this whole area. It's not fresh either. So that's what I'm looking at for the US dollar Japanese yen. For gold, gold as well has been in a big sideways range for a long time. We're back at the top of that range. Will we continue to hold these demand zones, or are we going to turn over? For now, the momentum remains to the upside, so only time will tell. We'll have to wait and see. We're beginning to test that now. If we don't hold it and we go down, we have a couple of levels. There's that one below as well. Let me just point that out. That area as well will be of interest. So overall, it's momentum is to the upside. We are banging our head against previously tested supply. Still not moving very far. On the smaller time frames, obviously we'll have a lot more trades, but this is a big picture video, so looking at the big picture. On crude, crude has been on a big tear. We have buyers in here. I'm just going to put that in a box. We have buyers in that area. It's not the quality of the supply zone, is that of the demand zone rather, but watching that area when prices do get down to see if they try to get a hold, the buyers I mean. And in terms of sellers, we don't have any sellers till up in these levels up in here. For now, there's no real clear quality zones, but watch that area and watch that one as prices return. Yeah, obviously the momentum still remains to the upside in oil, and that's the same for Brent as well. That the first one is WTI. Brent actually has a much clearer area there, and I would go that one first and just join the two of them there. So that's what we're looking at for the monthly levels now. We have more down in here, but for now these are the closest ones. Let's take a look at copper. Copper is a bit of a mess. Looking down at these areas down in here for demand, we do have some buyers in here right now, but that whole area has been tested a number of times. And I would look up into this area if we do get back up in there. Have we broken that one? Just about. Not quite. We are still in that one. So that one's the one in control right now. So we'll see how that goes. If we continue with the upside momentum, let's just check that and see if we still have any of that left. Not really, so we may still have some selling, people trying to sell if we get back up into this area, maybe to come down again. But time will tell. We don't know these things until they happen. That's the US market. It's been very choppy and range bound the last so many weeks. Whoops, demand is there. It's already tested. We do have sellers up in here now, but they're better seen on smaller time frames. In fact, if we go to the weekly chart of the US dollar, we're looking at these levels up in here, these weekly areas here. We're looking at these areas up in here. Yeah, so that's where we're coming up to. You can see the approach is not great at all It's coming back with buyers trying to push it higher and higher. So be mindful of that. And the Dow is similar to the S&P 500. We again have sellers up in there, and here we have a clearer view of where the buyers are sitting for that market. I'm just going to combine two levels there and put it there. And let's look on the weekly chart for where we think there might be selling might come in. They're still trying to hold. The sellers are still trying to protect that area, and ultimately we have that above us. That's where we are again. It's a very slow grinding approach upwards with higher highs and higher lows, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, guys, a quick announcement. We're going to be having an open day next week, which would be the 10th of June on the Roundtable. So if anyone wanted to attend the Roundtable with us on Sunday, the 10th of June at 8:30 p.m. UK, just come and see what we do. We'll be glad to have you. All right, guys, I hope you all trade safe, trade well. Take care, everybody.